Yo, what up? My name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording, and this is a little set that I'm starting to put together, inspired by the epidemic on YouTube of chill jazz house DJs. They're doing sets while making breakfast. They're doing sets in Airbnbs. They're doing sets in their pajamas. My God, it is an epidemic. I swear to God. And it got me thinking, hey, I have all of these like little snippets of music that I have developed over time. And I was like, I should go through all of this stuff, all this like gigabytes of stuff that I have, and put together like a little like, soul disco set. And so by doing that, one of the things that I had to do or wanted to do was work on performance effects. One of my most popular YouTube videos, according to my Patreon at least, is a video on an old live set that I did that eventually became my album In Control, which you can find on my Bandcamp. But basically the idea is of the video, I was like showing off this big set and how I made it. And there were some performance effects in there from someone named Orex and another one from another person who made a rack called 8 Knobs. The Orex one turns out to be free, but people don't seem to know that, so they keep paying me for it, which is super bizarre. Or they keep paying for the set at my Patreon. So I just got this idea. I'm like, I'm just going to make a video showing off how to make some performance effects. And what I mean by performance effects, I mean effects that like you can use in a DJ setting where you can do all the things that like sort of electronic music kind of wants you to do, like high pass filters and low pass filters and verbs and delays. And as a bonus, I'm also going to show you how if you don't have knobs to control this stuff, even a push won't really work on this because there's obviously more than, 8 knobs right here. And the push really has an 8 knob paradigm, as do a lot of MIDI controllers. But with this thing, we can actually use clips to trigger our effects. Like, let's see, like this one. Yeah, look at that stuff move. And then when it's done, I'll reset it and bring shit in. Just let that finish up. It's just doing it for me. I love it. Yep. Now, there we go. Congratulations, I'm a DJ. Now I just need to put on some pajamas, have some friends pretend to make breakfast around me, and I will have a hit YouTube channel. So this rack is what we're going to build first. I will explain why the rack isn't on this channel when we get to the part about this effects track. But here's the rack. So what I got? I got a high pass filter. I got a low pass filter. I got a verb. I got a delay. I have some delay time we can affect. I've got a flanger, a repeater. I got a vocoder. I don't think I'm going to use this, but basically it was pulling in vocode information from this channel right here. And you could get rid of a cool repitched vocoded version of the song that you were working on. I've got a redux, and then I have our sidechain right here. So I'm going to show you how all this stuff works. Before we get into that though, I will say that one of the things with this kind of like rare groove / like soul house kind of stuff is the production quality is all over the place. And so one of the things that I've done here is I've run it through a mono utility, meaning that it used to be, have its own stereo image. Not anymore. It's mono. And then I ran it through the Ozone imager and I stereoized stuff how I wanted to. So everything in here has been monoized and then re-stereoized so that it's consistent. This is the most expensive effect in terms of latency I have going on. So if you take your mouse and you hover over effect in here, you should be able to see how much latency. Yeah. So down in the bottom left, this entire effects rack has a 55 millisecond latency, probably mostly because of this Ozone 11 thing. Let me get rid of this and we'll see if that affects it. Wow, that didn't actually change it all that much. Now it's 47 milliseconds. Interesting. Oh, it's soothe. I like to keep the latency as low as possible, especially if I'm bringing in outside sources of audio. But here it's all in the box. Doesn't really matter all that much. It'll all just play. So let's talk about our high pass and low pass filters. Actually, we'll just rebuild it. Just rebuild it right here. We'll build it from scratch on here. How about that? High pass and low pass filters. These are like to emulate the filters on a Pioneer DJ mixer, and it's a very particular type of filter experience they have in there. So one way that we can do that, if you don't want to just go get something that does it, and I will show you one of those things in just a second, is with an EQ8. So to get an audio rack going, we get the EQ8 in here, or whatever you want to start with, and you can say group. You can also just start with an audio effect track if you want, but might as well just do it like this. So now that we have this, we can start mapping some stuff, which is how we create the performance effects. So let's open up this little thing here that has the little circular knob graphic on it and start working. A high pass filter is going to be one of these two things right here. I think I'm going to use the really sharp one. So as we move the frequency up, we take the lows out of it. And that's one way we can do things. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and say map to macro 1. And now our knob is something that we can play with right here. Now, one of the things about the Pioneer filters is they're not flat. They actually do have a bit of resonance to them, but I don't want to add a huge resonant bump as I'm going through this. So a resonant bump would look like this. And as we go through, we'll end up accentuating the bass right there. We want the juiciness as it goes up here, but we don't want necessarily to accentuate the bass right there. So what we can do is also map this to macro 1, our cue right here. And then we're going to hit the map button. And this is where the magic of Ableton Rack stuff happens. I can tell this thing to work within a specific range. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this all the way at the top here and decide how much I want the cue to go up. So that's going to be right here, resonance. If you click on any of these, it'll automatically jump to the control for it in the mapper. So I'm going to take this down, probably like right there. And then down here, because I want the bass to actually be in the track, I'll hit maybe a little less than 1 so we don't get that bump. And there we go. Now we've created a slightly sweet, resonant high pass filter. So we'll go ahead and right click and call this high pass filter. Let's do the low pass filter, shall we? Obviously this is the opposite way. So we're going to take that same filter slope and go to the top, 4x like this, and you see automatically we now have that. Now these are I think old MP3s, so nothing's really above 10K. So I'm not super worried about that, but let's go ahead and take our frequency and map it to macro 2. And again, we want a little bit of resonance. So let's go into Q and map that to here and hit the map button. And let's see what the range is. That's not actually terrible, but we can probably adjust it a bit. So let's go like that. And then when we get down here, probably have a little bit more resonance. Maybe like that. Let's see how that is. Oops, I messed up, sorry. Opposite way, let's see how that is. We just want to have that little bit of juiciness from the resonant filter. I think that's one of the nice things about the Pioneer sound. The DJ filter on the Pioneer is that sound. Okay, cool. So we'll call this low pass filter. And just for fun, we'll switch tracks because I don't want you to get super bored with this. All right, so before we go on to Verb, I will show you that there is a device that will do both of these things for you. It's from maxforlive.com website. It's this. If you ever are wondering what to call this, you can call it a DJ filter. So you can see down here, we have low pass, and then we have high pass up here. Turn up the Q, get that sweet sound. So we could replace this right here with one thing, and then you'd basically have this in the middle like this and move it down for low pass and up for high pass, which is pretty standard for the way the Pioneer filter works. So you can see down at the bottom that our EQ8 is, this whole rack right now is at 0.33 milliseconds of latency. If we get rid of this, still there. So yeah, I guess the EQ in oversampling mode is a little expensive, but if we turn off oversampling, now it's 0 latency. I always keep oversampling on. This is my default use for the EQ8, but in a live situation, I probably don't need that. So you can turn off oversampling and it will go faster. Okay, so the idea is that we get wetter over time, and also that we increase our decay. But we're also going to do a bit of filtering. So let's go ahead and map our dry wet to macro 3. Same thing with our decay. And we will also take this filter right here on the reverb and map this to here. Oops, I'm sorry. Map this to macro 3. So now, oops, we messed this up. Our decay needs to go to macro 3. We messed this whole thing up, y'all. Already here, we've got a big old wash there. You can also do this to make it really small up there. Let's do that. So macro 3. And maybe we'll turn our diffusion network filter on too. Yeah, let's get this involved as well. The diffusion network filter is really what we want. So what I like to do when I'm mapping complex macros is I like to, obviously we need to go through the whole range of this to figure out what we want. But there's basically two settings that I'm worried about. What does it sound like down here? And what does it sound like up here? So we're going to go into our mapping here. Here's all of our reverb. Now, if I color this macro a color, it'll show up in the mapping up here with that color, which is very useful if you are trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So let's mess around with our max settings here. So this low here, I want to bring this down a bit. Yeah, like that. And then I want to fix how this reverb is super low right here. So I'm going to hit this and bring this like here. And bring the filter width up like that for the beginning state. Okay, great. So there's a wash reverb. There's a lot more you can do with that. And if you search AUREX, Ableton racks online, you will find Orex's free racks, and they do a little bit more coloration with their reverb. One thing we could do with the reverb is combine it with our flanger. Okay, cool. So we will attach this dry wet to macro 3, and we also attach our feedback to macro 3. And now, we'll go ahead and adjust that. I want this to be pretty slow, and I don't want that much feedback. Nice. Delay and delay time. So this one's fun. You can get some cool color out of this. So with the delay, we're gonna have to do something a little different. And that is because I don't really want to go full wet with a delay. Meaning if I grab an echo and put it on here, like this, it kind of like goes in line with everything and can kind of mess up the vibe of what I want to do. So what I'm actually going to do is group this reverb. So this is now a rack within a rack. And one thing you'll notice immediately is that we have this macro that automatically got mapped. Live is pretty smart, and it knows to pass through the thing that we did before. So that's pretty nice. And now it's passed through to up here. So with our echo, what we're going to do is actually put this on within this group right here. I'm just going to drag it right into the reverb group, and we should immediately hear it. I'm going to treat this as a send. I'm going to grab a utility, and I'm going to put it right here. And now what I'm going to do is map this utility. Let's say macro 4. And I'm going to go ahead and send this up to macro 4 up here. This is our main rack up here. You have to pass through all the stuff. Now we have to be really careful with this utility send because we want it to go up to 0, but no further. So let's hit map, and we will go into here and find our utility right here. And as you can see, it goes from -infinity to 35. We definitely don't want that. Our feedback, let's go up to 90%. Now all that stuff gets passed through up to here. Now let's do the time for it. I'm gonna hit plus, so we have up to 10 macros. This one right here is gonna be our delay amount, and this will be our delay time. And this is what I like about the delay time one. So I'll go over here, and I will go ahead and link these, and I'll just, the left one, the left delay amount, I'll map to macro 4. No, I'm sorry. I have to add another one here to keep it in parity. I will go ahead and map this to macro 5 and send this over to our delay time. Now, check this out. So we're in a quarter note. So that specific jump up sound is a really, really fun one for transitional and hype elements. Yeah, it's fun. Okay, cool. What do we got next? We already did our flanger, so let's move on to our repeat. So this is like a little buffer stutter effect that can be really, really great for build-ups and stuff like that. What track do we want to use for this? Go up here, grab a beat repeat, put it on our main thing later on. Now, where you put this is up to you. I'm going to put it... I could put it pre or post reverb. What did I do for this one? Let's see. Where's my beat repeat? It is before the reverb and all that. Okay, cool. So I'm going to put the beat repeat right here, right after our... actually, I'll put it before our filter even. I think that makes more sense. Now, immediately, you can hear that we have a stutter effect. If you don't know how this works, basically, this is your grid of time. So 1, 2, 3, 4 quarter notes. You can see the interval is 1 bar. The grid is the 16th note. That's the repeating amount. And then we have our chances at 100% and our gate. Now, if I put this at like 1 bar, it'll never stop. And that is actually what we want. But we want to like affect this grid here, and we want to affect the this little friend right here, the filter. But we're going to go ahead and put insert so that there is no mixing of it. It's just like an insert effect. And this is where we get to do something a little bit new. So I never want this beat repeat on until I instantiate the effect. So what we're going to do is right-click on the turn on and off thing, and the device power button right here. And I'm going to go ahead and map this to macro 6. So you can see device on. We will go ahead and hit map and find that real quick. Let's color our beat repeat red. Device on, right here. So 64, 127. What that means is that when I get to 64, it will turn beat repeat on. But we want it on almost immediately. So I'm going to switch this to 2, and I'm going to switch the max to 0. And what that means is once we hit 2 down here, beat repeat turns on. I could make that 1 if I wanted to, but I'm just going to keep it at 2. All right, so that's our first macro. Let's go ahead and map some more stuff here. We want our grid to start at, I'm going to start mine at a quarter note right here. Go ahead and map this to our device on. So grid, we have to fix that because now it jumped to 1, 2, 56. Let's go ahead and use a half note for our intro amount. And then I'm going to go to 1/32 note for this. And now we can hear what that sounds like. Now, along the way, we hit some triplets. You may want those or you may not. I'm going to turn no triplet on in beat repeat so we don't hit triplets. So this is as far as I can go. You might want to go further, but I think a 1/32 note's fine for me. So let's work with the filter now. Let's turn on the filter. Go ahead and turn this on. I'm going to map our filter width and filter frequency to the same macro, like this. To 6. Let's just call this repeat. All right, cool. So I'm going to turn this all the way up and see how this feels all the way up there. I'm going to go ahead and actually make this a little thinner. So filter width, thinner, just to make it a bit more extreme. Yeah, cool. Love this track. So fun. All right, cool. So that's our repeat. What else do we have over here? We're going to skip the vocode. We got digital and pump. So these are a couple wild cards. You can do whatever you want with these, but I do like the sound of some aliasing on this stuff. So I'm going to grab our Redux effect and put it... Where did I put the other one? I think probably I put it like before the, we call it the like reverb and echo. So I'm going to put it right here after our filter. And this one, I'm going to use the sample decimator part right here. I like that sound. So I'm just going to go ahead and right click, map this to macro 7, and I'm going to change the range. I'm going to opposite it because I want this to go up. I want my knobs to generally be, you know, except for the low pass filter you can see is all the way up. But I'm going to start this one at the bottom and switch it. So sample rate right here. We can just swap these. So all the way up, all the way down. And now as I bring this up, we'll go to our sample rate there. I'm going to adjust this. I don't need to go all the way down that way. Probably something like that's fine. So that's Redux. Last but not least, we have pump. There's already a pump on here. Let me turn off this effects thing. Kind of hear what it's doing right there. It's up to you how you do this. There's a few ways. You know, you can route a compressor. Go ahead and open up your sidechain. Now, here's where you can either grab from your drum rack where you have your kick. That would be sort of the, like, if the kick's in, you get sidechain. If it comes out, you don't. And you can still control the amount of the pump. It's up to you. This is one way. I'll show you another way in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this threshold down. And you can immediately hear that pump. Now, why would I even want the pump on and off in general? Well, because when my beat's in, I like to have a certain amount of pumping. Sometimes when the beat's out, I might want to keep it too. But some tracks have a fair amount of bass and other drums in them, and I want to be choosy about how much I am pumping things. So I can right-click on this now, map to macro 8, and we'll go ahead and change the range of this. Up here, I don't want it to be 6 dB. I want it to be 0, so it's pretty much no compression whatsoever. Actually, we'll flip these. So we'll put 0 at the beginning state, and then at the ending state, we'll just pick how much we want to hear at the most. If you're not seeing this return to 0, then you're doing too much sidechain compression. So that's one way you can do it. And it's going to be dependent on whether or not your kick's in. So if I take this kick out, our sidechain compression goes away, and that's a pretty common thing in this kind of music. I'll show you another way I can do this. Turn off our compressor here. I'll just get rid of it, actually. I found this cool little Max for Live device. Put it way at the end here. It's a free device on maxforlive.com. So immediately, you heard the pump, right? That's because this just does it for you. It doesn't need to key off of anything. And the cool thing about this one is you can really shape how the sidechain feels. And I think that's pretty cool. So for this, we would just right-click and set this to 8. And again, this is our sidechain pump mix. So we'll say pump. So you can do it with a compressor, or you could do it with an external thing. Okay, so that's how I would build my basic effects chain. But let me show you now the other thing that I found out. So we don't need this anymore. We have our original. So how do we, like, automate this? You know, if I have like a little knobby MIDI controller, like a MIDI Fighter Twist, or you know, a Fader Fox thing, or even if you want to like a push, if you have that lying around, or you know, a Launchpad, you can have custom mode on Launchpad. But I need my Launchpad for launching my clips. So I had this idea: how do I use these effects in such a way where I can have a clip launch and make the effects do things? So if you'll see here on the screen, I have these like sort of blanked out clips over here on the right. These are audio dummy clips. And if I play one, what we're going to get is a set of automation over time. You hear the repeater now is just doing stuff, right? Now it's doing a whole bunch of stuff. And then I'll reset it. So what just happened? First and foremost, I have run my track with all of my audio clips here. So this track here with all of my audio clips used to have the audio effect rack that we're playing with now on it, like we just built, right? But I'm now running that through another track. So you can see down here, audio 2, effects track, right here, track in, and then here are my effects track. It is set to monitor in. If you have this off, then you won't hear anything. Auto will only let you hear it if you have it armed, and we're not fucking with that. Actually, no, you won't even hear that because these are actually audio clips, so that won't work. You have to have in. And now we're sending this audio here into here. And these are actually like audio clips. I have the volume turned down because I needed just something to record in there. But like, these are just audio clips. You could have a blank audio clip. You could have an audio clip turned down all the way. It doesn't really matter. You just need something in there. And then you need the effects that you want to use, probably as a rack on here. And once you've done that, you can go into this audio clip right here and go to clip. I'm sorry, not clip. If you click where it says clip, you'll see everything that's in the rack, basically, everything that's on the channel. So I'll go to effects, which is what this is called, my effects rack. I'll go to effects, and I will then go into here. And see, there's already stuff that has been dotted red. That's because it has automation. So this one, this low-pass filter, high-pass filter snake, has this just meandering high-pass filter automation, has some low-pass filter automation. Apparently I have pump automation. Oh, I can get rid of this. This does not belong in here, actually. That's from a different clip. And no verb either. But if I wanted to, I could have verb in this clip. So there's a 4-bar buildup, right? Let's fuck with that. Once it comes in, I will reset and bring in the drums. Isn't that great? It's just so simple. Like, these are automation clips. They are blank audio clips that sit on this effects track I'm running things through that get automation for the effect track that we just built. And that means during my set with just a launch pad, I can do like a little build up if I want to. Now, in order to get this to work, what I'd probably recommend is, let's go ahead and go to our 4-bar delay here. So once this gets to its end, it's gonna loop. I could turn loop off. Let's see what happens if we turn loop off. Okay, so the reason it sounds normal is because at the end of these effects, I do bring them all back down to normal. If I didn't, then I think this would just stay messed up. Let's go ahead and do a new one just to see, all right? Okay, this is with loop off. So obviously this is not ideal. What you could do if you wanted to is for this loop off technique, you can have it go just a little bit longer and bring everything down on the downbeat, like this. Bring that high pass filter down like this. And it's not gonna loop, and it's gonna reset itself. So let's try that. Okay, so that works. You can create a clip that's a little bit longer than you normally would, turn loop off, and then when you trigger it, it will do its rise, or whatever like manipulation you want, and then it will just reset itself. But I also have this reset one down here, which is basically got nothing going on, and it just resets any automation that could be happening. So for instance, I will do the third one right here. This is an 8-bar low-pass filter rise. I could reset this at any moment by playing that reset clip, like this. Obviously, just doing both in your session, maybe. The non-looping auto-resetting clip is great, but for instance, like this low-pass filter, high-pass filter snake thing, this is really just supposed to be a chill-out bit. Doesn't really do much, right? I would actually recommend probably doing mostly the non-loop auto-resetting type of dummy clip here. That's how I would probably do it. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's go ahead and pick a different section here. Hey, so hopefully that was useful to you. The racking system in Ableton is quite frankly fantastic, and it doesn't really take much to get in there and make super custom performance effects. And if you want to, make a whole live set around just, playing back cool little snippets of music and stuff like that, and messing them up and playing with the effects and shit like that. By the way, Just a shout out to Skaka. I love this program so much. From Klevker. Amazing little percussion device. Freaking love it. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching this video on performance effects. If you have any tips about performance effects stuff in your world, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I do lessons on Ableton and modular and all kinds of stuff. If you would like to talk more about this, hit up a link in the description and we can plan your live set if you want to. Otherwise, keep an eye out for a performance of this. What I'm actually going to do is, instead of having these pre-made drums in here, I'm going to do all the drums in the Digitakt 2 and then do a set performance of this. I guess keep an eye out for that. I don't know when I'm going to do it. I have a lot of shit on the agenda. But anyways, yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you so much. My name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording. Hey, I hope you have a wonderful day.